China and Taiwan have maintained a tense relationship since their division in 1949. Despite sharing a common history over the years, here are 6 differences between these countries. Name. You can get a sense of their historical conflict just by looking at their names, which, by the way, are very similar and tend to confuse many people. China's official name is the People's Republic of China, given after the Communist Party led by Mao Zedong seized power after the Chinese Civil War. Meanwhile, Taiwan, which is also known historically as Formosa, a name given by passing Portuguese sailors that translates to beautiful island, is officially called the Republic of China since 1949, when the Nationalist Party took over and moved its administration to the island. Even the US government slipped up in 2017. Former President Donald Trump greeted his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping, referring to him as the President of the Republic of China, meaning President of Taiwan. It was quite a blunder, given the fact that he was celebrating the United States' wonderful relationship with the Asian powerhouse. Politics. Since the 1949 Chinese Revolution, China and Taiwan have always had an uneasy relationship from a political standpoint. When Mao Zedong took power, his counterpart, Chiang Kai-shek, ran away from the Communist Party and flew to Taiwan along with his cabinet and supporters from the Kuomintang, also known as the Nationalist Party. The government of China has maintained the same structure since 1949. It consists of an authoritarian political system under the exclusive control of the Chinese Communist Party, which fully dominates all branches of China's politics. This is also known as a People's Democratic Dictatorship. Xi Jinping is the most powerful figure in the government as he is the president of China, but his real influence comes from his position as the General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party. On the other hand, Taiwan's democracy is relatively young. Chiang Kuomintang ruled the country under martial law from 1949 to 1987. During that time, political dissent was harshly repressed, and Taiwanese who inhabited the island before 1945 often faced discrimination. It wasn't until 1996 that Taiwan would hold its first presidential elections, and in the year 2000, it finally elected its first non-KMT president. 2020's elections saw current President Tsai Ing-wen, leader of the independence-leaning political party, win a second term, to China's fury. The independence sentiment is present in the majority of the island, as opposed to the mainland, where most people believe that Taiwan belongs to them. At the moment, only 13 countries officially recognize Taiwan as a country, and despite having all the characteristics of an independent state and a different political system to China, Taiwan's legal status remains unclear. Even though the US has maintained formal diplomatic relations with China since 1979, it has also maintained unofficial relations with Taiwan, being the island's top seller of defense equipment, and has declared that it will defend Taiwan in the case of a Chinese incursion on the island. Languages. Both countries speak Mandarin. Although Standard Mandarin is China's official language, many linguists suggest the country has around 302 living languages. This number may vary though, depending on what you define as a language and dialect. If we only take Mandarin into account, we'll find 10 different variants of it that are widely spoken around the country. These are Standard Mandarin, which is spoken by more than 70% of the population, but according to China's Ministry of Education, only 10% can speak it fluently. Also called Chinese Mandarin, it is believed to be spoken by more than 920 million people worldwide. Yue, which includes the famous Cantonese, Hong Kong's official language. It is believed to be spoken by around 84 million people worldwide. Wu, which is predominantly spoken in the East region, and an estimated of around 80 million people speak it worldwide, and other forms of Mandarin such as Min, Jing, Xiang, Hakka, Gan, Hui, and Pinghua, which are spoken to a lesser extent, but still, their numbers make millions. In Taiwan, the Chinese government banned indigenous languages for a period of time and promoted Chinese Mandarin as the mandatory language, making it widely spoken today, mainly in Taipei. However, Standard Mandarin evolved into Taiwanese Mandarin, also known as Hokkien, which is spoken by more than 70% of the population, making it the most spoken language in Taiwan. Hokkien is the result of mixing both indigenous and Chinese Mandarin. In Taiwan, you can also find Taiwanese, Hakka, which is another variant of Mandarin, Aboriginal languages like the Ami, and foreign languages like English and Japanese. Food. Chinese food is as unique and satisfying as it is extensive and diverse, mainly due to its vast landscape and long history of small kingdoms and ethnic groups. Most Chinese dishes are rice or noodle-based and are paired with things like pork, duck, beef, chicken, tofu, eggs, onion, daikon radish, soybean sprouts, and bamboo shoots, just to name a few. The Peking duck is considered China's national dish since it has been made for centuries, tracing its origins all the way back to the Yuan dynasty in Beijing, where it was deemed as a royal dish. It is famous for its crispy, thin skin. In fact, sometimes only the skin is served and not the meat itself. Among many of China's traditional dishes, we can find chow fan, which is the famous fried rice, the baozi, which are basically steamed buns, often filled with veggies and pork, and kong yu bing, which is the Chinese version of pancakes, just to name a few. Taiwanese food, on the other hand, is deeply inspired by both Chinese and Japanese cuisine. It is also considered some of the best in the world. Taiwan's national dish is deemed to be the spicy beef noodle soup, which features incredibly tender beef, along with udon noodles in most cases, and a broth full of flavor thanks to vegetables, garlic, scallion, cilantro, and chilies, among many other ingredients commonly used for garnish. One of the most unique aspects of Taiwanese food comes hand in hand with the country's bustling night market culture. Chiayi, for example, is one of the most foodie cities in all of Asia, while Taipei is full of incredible street food markets where you can try some of the most exquisite meals to the downright weird. Other unique dishes from Taiwanese cuisine include the world-renowned bubble tea, which is a sweet tea drink containing chewy tapioca balls, the gua bao, which is also known as the Taiwanese burger and consists of pork belly buns sandwiched between steamed bao buns, and the stinky tofu, which is a tofu that has been fermented for several months, giving it a very distinctive odor. This dish is one of the most notable features of Taiwanese night markets. Its smell is so strong that you will always know when you're passing by a tofu stand. Education. China has a state-funded education system that is compulsory for all children between the ages of 6 and 15. In Chinese culture, education is of the utmost importance to people, and often a person's value is based on their level of education, what they studied, and where they studied. As a result of that, China's education system can be extremely competitive, as students try to be the best in their class and get into the best universities. It has the largest education system in the world, which accounts for about 4% of the country's GDP. China has a literacy rate of 96.4% and a gender gap of 3.7%. Meanwhile, in Taiwan, students may study for up to 20 years, which includes 6 years of primary education, 3 years of junior high school, 3 years of senior secondary school, 4 years of higher education, 1 to 4 years for a master's degree, and 2 to 7 years for a doctoral degree. In recent years, education investment accounted for 5% of the island's GDP. Taiwan also records a more literate population than China, a literacy rate of 98.7%, and a smaller gender gap of only 2%. Economy. China is the largest manufacturer economy and exporter of goods, has 4 of the world's top 10 most competitive financial centers, 3 of the world's largest stock exchanges, and is the largest trading nation in the world. In 2021, China's GDP reached an insane sum of $16 trillion. Even though it's not an extensive land, Taiwan is the world's top contract manufacturer of semiconductor chips and has a booming manufacturing industry. Despite the rising tensions, China remains Taiwan's largest trading partner, although the country has an independent economy and also has major trading agreements with the US, Japan, and the EU. In 2020, companies in Taiwan were responsible for more than 60% of the world's chip production, proving the island to be crucial for the global tech industry. This means that Taiwan alone generated more than $68 billion out of the $85 billion sold around the world in the semiconductor market. Even though there are no official numbers on Taiwan's GDP in recent years, Taiwan is considered an advanced economy and ranks as one of the largest economies in Asia and the world by the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. Many experts suggest that we are in the middle of a technological revolution. So given Taiwan's dominance as a world tech manufacturer, do you think it could become a world power? Let us know in the comments.